Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You're watching SDTV and I am tired, Hinsa. Water has become a very critical commodity globally, especially after the hype which has been given during this ongoing war in West Asia, where Iran has threatened they're, they're going to do away with the water desalination plant in the Arabian desert. And obviously, it's a matter of life and it's a potable water. Pakistan has also been embroiled for quite some time now in water issue, which is of transboundary nature with eastern neighbor India. They, they also want to weaponize it. They want to unilaterally revoke an agreement on which they have no right to, they cannot actually do that unilaterally. What are the issues? Is it comparable to the situation in the Gulf or is it a little bit different? What should be the situation and how to deal with it? And what's the basic knowledge that the general public should have in its mind to build a narrative on? We have today with us a very eminent guest who has written extensively on the issue, and he's an expert on water issues, especially the transboundary issues. He has been he had been consulted very closely on this Indus Water Treaty and transboundary issues elsewhere in the world. We have today with us chairperson of the Board of Governance of SDPI and a former director of UNCCC, founder director of UNCCC, and a Deputy High Commissioner of Pakistan in India, Mr. Shafqat Kakakhel. Shafqat sahab, very warm welcome. How do you see this conflict between India and Pakistan?
This conflict between India over transboundary water issues or the rivers that we share of the Indus Basin adds to the agenda of India-Pakistan problems. Of course, the top of the agenda is Kashmir. We also have the problem of Siachen, where India unilaterally um, entered and occupied heights, which was a violation of the Simla Agreement 1973. We, India and Pakistan also do not have a determined maritime boundary. We have problems in over the determination of the maritime boundary. We had the problem of Run of Kutch, which has been resolved. So India and Pakistan, unfortunately, have a number of issues. But in terms of the existential problems between the two countries, the problem of water tops the list. Because water is life. As the Quran says, we created everything from water. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مِنَ الْمَاءِ. So and in Pakistan particularly, it's important because our agriculture depends on the rivers of the Indus. Our power generation depends on that. Our health and hygiene depend on water. And our exports are agro-based, and our agriculture is dependent on the availability of good quality water.
So now we have an issue. It was resolved very amicably, and for many decades, the agreement has sustained. Even during the wars, Pakistan has been fighting wars with India, but that agreement sustained, and we keep on the consultation on from the both sides had been carried on. Now there is an issue. What do you think? How should we go further? What is the pathway to resolve it?
Well, basically, as you mentioned, the Indus Water Treaty was brokered with the technical and subsequently financial support of the World Bank. In fact, the World Bank president devoted his own efforts, his time, to negotiating with the prime ministers of the two countries, Jawaharlal Nehru and the president of Pakistan, Ayub Khan. And later on, when it became necessary to maintain the tempo of negotiations, a vice president, a full-time vice president of the World Bank, Mr. Elif, was provided for the negotiations, and he shuttled between
The two
Washington
capitals.
and New Delhi and Karachi and later Islamabad. Well, Islamabad had not yet been established as the capital, so you're talking about New Delhi and Karachi. The Indus Water Treaty essentially divided the 6 rivers of the basin, of the Indus Basin, between the two countries. What happened? The Indians, the eastern rivers, Ravi, Sutlej, Beas, the controls were came in the position of India, but all the lands that were irrigated by these rivers, particularly Ravi and Sutlej, were actually in West Punjab, because West Punjab was the more promising part of one of the largest regions, which was Punjab. And the Indians insisted that after partition, they will have the eastern rivers all to themselves. During the negotiations before partition, immediately after partition, and later on for the Indus Water Treaty, this was the non-negotiable minimum of the Indians. Pakistan was reluctant to accept this, but later on Pakistan agreed only on condition that it is enabled to set up water storage facilities where Pakistan could store water from the western rivers, surplus water, and take it through a canal system to the areas that were hitherto irrigated by the eastern rivers. So that's how you have the Indus.
Sir, do we have any dispute resolution mechanism inbuilt into the treaty itself?
Yeah.
In the document, I mean.
The most distinguishing parts, the Indus Water Treaty will be remembered, is being acknowledged for a number of special features. The first one, I would say, is the level of detail. The agreement itself is 3.5 pages.
Yeah.
But the annexures, there are about 8 annexures, which give detailed instructions or provisions about various aspects of the agreement, run into about 120 pages. So, Indus Water Treaty becomes one of the most voluminous, if not the most voluminous treaty in history. The first is the level of detail. They have left virtually nothing to the imagination. Everything about the sharing of water is mentioned. Number 2, there's the governance system. The Indus Water Treaty has a Permanent Indus Commission, which comprises 2 Indus commissioners, who must be a high-level engineering expert. This is mentioned in the treaty. So you have the Pakistani commissioner, and you can see from the fact that the present Pakistani commissioner, Meher Ali Shah, is also the additional secretary in charge, head of the Ministry of Water Resources. Similarly, India has always had a very senior civil engineer as its Indus commissioner. The purpose is that the 2 commissioners should basically implement the agreement, so that you don't have to bother the ministerial level people. They have to meet at least once a year, and more frequently if necessary. Number 3, and that is what distinguishes the Indus Water Treaty from most of the water sharing agreements, and that is a very elaborate dispute settlement mechanism. The settlement mechanism has three tiers. The first is the commissioners, the commission. If there is any problem, the two commissioners would get in touch, meet, discuss, resolve. If they cannot resolve, then the two governments will recommend the names of experts, water experts. The World Bank will choose from them, or will choose an eminent expert as a neutral expert. And
So
we've had a Swiss engineer who dealt with one of the
So what should we do now? How the Pakistan should rumble on now?
Now, what has happened is that
it's held in abeyance.
2023, January, India gave a notice to Pakistan that it wanted intergovernmental negotiations to negotiate a new agreement. Why they said we negotiate a new agreement? Because the Indus Water Treaty cannot be amended. It must be replaced by a duly negotiated and ratified agreement. This was basically to make sure that the longevity or the permanence of the agreement. And Pakistan said, after ministerial consultations, I was a participant in those consultations. It was decided that we will tell the Indians, yes, we welcome any discussions that you would like to have, any problems that you might have. Let the commissioners meet. Indians said no. They did not give any answer. And in August 2024, they all of a sudden announced that unless Pakistan agrees to new negotiations for a new treaty, the commissioners will not meet. So in practical terms, India made the Indus Water Treaty dysfunctional with effect from August 2024.
Unilaterally.
But in April 2025, after a terrorist incident in Pahalgam, India announced 4 or 5 measures, a package of measures, which was topped by this, holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. Now, holding a treaty in abeyance is not a legal term. It is political rhetoric. It has no legal sanctity. No magistrate in any court will ever accept, and it was not accepted. So, in response to old problems of Kishanganga and all, we have actually a neutral expert that India wanted, and there is also a court of arbitration that Pakistan had demanded. And both of them have recognized and reiterated the continued validity of Indus Water Treaty.
So what should we do now, sir? Because it's a unilateral, they don't listen to you, they have the control. What should we do?
There are a number of forums available to Pakistan, and Pakistan has used those. The first one, of course, is the General Assembly of the United Nations, which meets from September until the end of the year, or sometimes spells into the January. Pakistan has raised the issue. Pakistan raises the issue in each session of the General Assembly, accusing India of weaponizing water, using water as an instrument of coercion. And the second is the Security Council. Pakistan has written to the Security Council, and the Security Council circulated its complaint. The third is the water-related international meetings. There are a number of meetings. In fact, some meetings are coming up in this year. The word water it's called the UN Water, which is basically a coalition of organizations dealing with water. So we've raised the issue in all forums. Unfortunately, there is no international mechanism to enforce decisions. And as you know, uh, there is no international machinery on anything. I mean, look at the dispute between Iran and Israel and all. At the moment, basically, it is being left to
Elements.
the use of force. So Pakistan, what Pakistan has done is Pakistan has told India in very clear terms that any reduction in the flow of water, all the 6 rivers, but we only have 3 western rivers, Sutlej, the Jhelum, and Chenab, and Sindh, of course, the Indus. These are the 3 western rivers. They all flow from India into Pakistan. We have told them we are monitoring the inflow of water. If we register any reduction in the flow of water, any deliberate curtailment of the supply of water, it will trigger the most serious countermeasures by Pakistan. It will be the declaration of war.
What do you expect? What are the hunches? What is going to happen? I'm asking for a very purpose that this erratic flow, which they sometimes.
I personally think they have discussions where some of the problems that may have been faced in the establishment of the power stations that India is allowed on the western rivers. You know, on the western rivers, the rivers must flow into Pakistan naturally. But while they are an Indian territory, India is allowed limited uses, about 3.6 billion acre feet, for agriculture, irrigation, for human consumption, and for run-of-the-river power generating units. Run-of-the-river projects are single-use projects which only generate electricity. They cannot be used for storing water for irrigation.
Right.
So you have pondage, just enough water to propel the turbines to produce electricity, but the water must return to the river.
Right. Like in Ghazi Barotha.
Yeah. So now India is saying that Indian arguments are that we need a population has gone up, and meaning that we need more water. India is also talking about renewable energy, which rivers are used for. My answer to those is that your population, Indian populations, since independence has gone up 3 times. Pakistan's population has gone up more than 5 times. So if there is anyone
you should rather give more water.
Yeah. And similarly, renewable energy, we have absolutely no problem, and that is why the Indus Water Treaty allows you to generate electricity.
Right. So last question. Do you think, there's a very close nexus and sort of a consultation with Israel on several things? We know in Operation Sindoor, their drones were there involved. Now what is happening, there's a stalemate with Iran. India would come to senses on water issues?
Well, basically, India has already weaponized water by making a treaty that ensured a smooth flow of water from India into Pakistan. They have complicated it. So India is already guilty of weaponizing water.
Right. So thank you very much, sir. So India is guilty on weaponizing water, especially in this region, which is a large population. And now it's anybody's guess what's going to happen because it's an act of war. Pakistan claims that, but experts say that still they have their fingers crossed and hope that sense might prevail after this very rapidly changing global scenario in the West Asia. With this, we come to the end of the program. Bye for now.